This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, and I'm here with the Daily Wrestling News Update live for the 120,000 subscribers I have and over 80 million video views, growing every day. The big news/rumor today is sports, or from yesterday. We are Monday today, the beginning of a major week for wrestling news, and Sports Illustrated has reported that Jack Swagger could very well be appearing on the first episode of AEW Dynamite this Wednesday. As a surprise, he is, of course, fighting his third MMA fight for Bellator this coming October. We all know Jim Ross is an advisor to AEW, and I've heard Jim Ross say on his podcast that he's very high on Jack Swagger. He's also said he's very high on Davey Boy Smith Jr., and he thinks that both of those guys would be good additions to AEW, so that does lend some credibility to that rumor. And although Swagger left WWE on good terms, if he wants to continue with MMA, AEW, you're only wrestling once a week, maybe twice a week on pay-per-view days or pay-per-view weeks. They're not doing house shows yet. He would still be able to train in MMA, where WWE, you really sign your life away when you're signed with them, unless you get a part-time contract. So that would allow him more freedom. Apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, The Rock still might appear on Friday night Smackdown this week on Fox. They're working on it. It would be a last-minute thing, likely, if he is added to the show. We already know he's appearing for the UFC in November. And we were just talking about MMA. Cain Velasquez was discussed in depth by Dave Meltzer today on the Wrestling Observer Radio. Apparently, he's had meetings with WWE. AEW is very interested in him. I guess every major promotion is interested in him, with the exception of CMLL. So it's going to be a matter of time, I guess, before we find out. He is scheduled for this October 13th AAA pay-per-view. That, other than him being scheduled, this October 13th AAA show in LA, there hasn't been anything else announced about that show at all. And I actually talked to Hugo Savinovich, who works for AAA, a little bit today, back and forth, and he didn't tell me any more news either. He was telling me about this big show he has going on in Puerto Rico at the end of November. So we don't know if Impact's going to be involved in this AAA show. We don't know if the Mexican wrestler visa issues are going to be resolved they had in New York. I guess only time will tell. But there wasn't very many buys for that New York show, pay-per-view wise. It was reported only about 60 live buys, somewhere around 300 to 400 total buys. So Cain didn't help them that much there, but of course he would be used much better in a major company. Big 21 says Swagger would help AEW. While they need big guys, he's big. He had numerous chances in WWE where he was pushed, and he never really became a massive star, but he's getting better. And I'm sure the MMA victories, even though they were against opponents that he was likely to win against, are definitely going to help his notoriety. So I would agree that he would be a good addition to AEW. Did John Morrison re-sign with WWE? Yes, he did. We just don't know if it's a full or part-time contract yet. There was a couple other notes. Of course, I mentioned yesterday in the news, unfortunately, Rick Titan died, who was the best known as the fake Razor Ramon. Apparently, he was a world champion in Japan for FMW when he was in his early 20s. Then he went to ECW. And I guess he was recruited by WWE specifically to play that Razor Ramon character. nobody really knows why he wasn't given a different character like the fake Diesel was, where Cain was the fake Diesel and he went on to have a huge career. He just appeared on Raw the other week getting in an incident with Bray Wyatt. So I don't know. I recently heard the fake Razor Ramon on Sean Mooney's podcast, and I tried to do an interview with him himself, but I never got any feedback from him on Facebook. I never actually met him, even though he lived in Calgary at the same time as me. He wasn't involved in Stampede Wrestling when I was there, but he did come off as a bit of a storyteller in that podcast with Sean Mooney, I'll be honest with you. But he does seem like a nice guy from all reports I've heard. But he came across in that Sean Mooney podcast as, I don't know, a little bit arrogant, I guess. So maybe he displayed that attitude backstage. I don't know. It's also been reported he overcame this and became a motivational speaker, but he did have drug and alcohol issues at one point. So maybe that was around the time of his WWE run. I don't know. I am sorry to hear of his passing, but wrestlers' lives are so short. I'm 36. I don't even know if I'll make 49. He lived to be 49, so I don't know. You become numb to it all, and I didn't know him personally, but apparently he was having success as a motivational speaker. Sportsfan 316 says, off topic, but how do you feel about Ken Shamrock being in Impact Wrestling? He's collecting a paycheck. I think they used him in Vegas, the last set of tapings that they did in Vegas, I believe. So, yes, Sean Mooney has a podcast to the guy asking that. It's not the most controversial podcast, but he does have some good guests. Sean Mooney is someone I want to interview too in the future. Matt Tavern, as we reported yesterday, re-signed with Ring of Honor. He got an offer that is worth double what NXT guys make for the immediate future, and it goes up, I guess, as the years progress, according to the Wrestling Observer, to almost triple what NXT guys are earning right now. So that's why he re-signed with Ring of Honor. Way less of a schedule than NXT. And NXT, I guess, from what I understand, they now have to practice the Wednesday show on Tuesdays. So I can imagine how annoying that would be to have to practice a full match before it happens. That really sucks, actually. I think that's a horrible idea to have wrestlers have to practice matches. That's just plain sucks. But I guess there wasn't much interest in Tavern on the AEW side, according to Meltzer. But he could have gone to NXT, but he chose Ring of Honor, and that is the best financial decision. And he was world champion there, so that's a good position for him. San Luis Valley, Alien Contacts, his new subscriber here. Our Alien videos are going to be random on here, just so you know. It's mostly a wrestling channel. But I am going to do more UFO-related videos because they're getting very popular on this channel. The New York State Athletic Commission told both AAA and New Japan no blading, apparently, on the most recent shows that took place in New York. Total Divas is being moved from Wednesday nights to Tuesday nights, obviously with the conflicts there with the NXT and AEW shows. And we don't know still yet if Lady Yasmin and Max Testosterone from Great North Wrestling have been signed out of their WWE tryouts last month. Usually you're not allowed to say until you pass the medical and drug tests. But recently, Lady Yasmin's boyfriend did propose to her, and Maximum Testosterone is getting married this coming weekend. So I wonder if that says anything that they could be moving. But who knows? Either way, they're going to be on the Great North Wrestling event October 19th in Rockland Apocalypse with Haku there, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Savio Vega, Wes Briscoe, and a lot more. 2 girls matches, tables matches, kickboxing matches. It's going to be an amazing event. The HannibalTV.com has more information. Someone's asking me, do I know when they are announcing the Canadian AEW TV? From what I understand, there's been no deal made yet. They've been in negotiations. It looks like it might be on TSN. It looked like they were coming close to finalizing it by last Thursday, but right now the AEW show's debuting on Wednesday and they still haven't announced a Canadian TV deal. So you can guess that it probably hasn't been finalized yet. Who knows? Someone's asking if Lady Yasmin goes to WWE, what will happen to the women's division? Well, she's not even the champion right now. Jessica Black's the champion right now. Lady Yasmin hasn't even wrestled since February. She was injured. And Jessica Black's been doing great. Lady Yasmin has to win the title back from Jessica Black in Rockland if she wants to be the top lady in Great North Wrestling. Again, and another note, Billy Graham, he had a heart attack 2 weeks ago. He sent a message earlier this week that he was out of the hospital, back at home resting. I think that was around Wednesday, and he was going to post a message on his Facebook with an update this weekend. I talked to his Facebook webmaster, Mike from Florida, and he said he has not heard anything from Billy at all this weekend. So hopefully he's all right. What always pisses me off is Ra's in Phoenix tomorrow, and I bet you Hulk Hogan's in town. He's not going to say hi to Billy. All these people are in town. Ric Flair's going to be there, and they're not going to stop by and see Billy, possibly the last time they could ever see him. That just makes me upset. And that, like, they're not even going to use him. Maybe why we haven't heard from him, this will be a big surprise, and they're going to do something with him on Raw in Phoenix. But that's wishful thinking. Do I know if AEW Full Gear will be a traditional pay-per-view? From what I understand, you'll be able to buy it on pay-per-view or through the internet streaming services. From what I understand, that's coming up. Am I going to go visit Graham again this year? I am supposed to go back to Phoenix next March. I don't know if I'll be able to afford it this year. The next Great North Wrestling event, October 19th, is going to be the last one until the winter's over. I am dedicating the winter to shoot interviews. So I'll be gathering a lot of shoot interviews. I had a bunch of cancellations this month. So it's been not the greatest few months for new shoot interviews. So I really apologize for that. But I'm dedicating this whole winter to shoot interviews because I know everyone loves my shoot interviews on these channels. So yeah, that's what's going to happen. And then we have shoot interviews for October too lined up. I'll answer one more question. Big Dummy says AEW looks like WCW Thunder. My interview portfolio is incredible. Yes, I have interviewed a hell of a lot of famous people, and I am expanding that outside of wrestling as time goes on. So you guys will see that more and more and more and more and more. But I'll wish everyone a good night. This is going to be a huge week in wrestling with AEW starting up. Who knows? Ralph says thanks for the interviews. Thank you to you too. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the AEW product is like. If it's going to be more on the Orange Cassidy side and the transgender side and the weirdness side of wrestling promos where they pretend that their wrestlers don't know the cameras are still rolling when the cameras are off, which is something I really don't like about AEW. They've done that several times. Like you're shooting a promo and then there's another camera still rolling and that airs, so something happens off camera. That seems really cheesy. That reminds me of the WCW powers that be crap that didn't work. But who knows if they're bringing in Swagger and Jim Ross is on commentary with Tony Schiavone and another person. I don't remember who exactly it is, but there is some good things to AEW. So we'll see how it plays out. Thank you very much for all the questions and comments.